everyone. Welcome to lesson 114. I'm going to start with number 1, and it says Kevin mailed a total of 64 flyers. He mailed the same number of flyers on each of 8 days. How many flyers did Kevin mail each day? Alright, so I have things that I do know. I know that I have a total of 64 flyers, and I know that he mailed the same amount of flyers on each of the 8 days. So what I would do is that I would draw a picture representing this problem. And I'm going to start off with the 8 days as my groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's okay if it doesn't fit perfectly in the box. And I could do it this way. If I have 64, I could start putting in each one of my groups what would be the flyers until I reach, and I'd be counting until I get to 64. As I notice, I can see that I have groups. So I could either use multiplication or division to figure out this problem. I know that I have my total, so I can start off a division problem with my total. And I know that I now have 8 groups because the 8 groups represent the same number of flyers on each of the 8 days. So the groups represent my 8 days, because I need to find out how many flyers he mailed in each day. So I would get 64 divided by 8. If I didn't know this by heart, or if maybe I'm a little bit uncomfortable with division, I could find the inverse operation where I would take 8 times something equals 64. I know that sometimes when we see it this way, it's a bit easier for us to solve. But if I'm still uncomfortable with my multiplication, I can use kind of the longer way by continuing to fill out my picture, because this can help me as well. Okay, going on to number 2. Name the shape. So I'm looking at this shape. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to count up my sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 6-sided shape, if I didn't know what that was, instead of guessing, I could flip back to my help pages and I could start looking at my shapes. Now I have number of sides, and I said that one was 6. Here's a 6-sided shape. It looks like it's a hexagon. 3, 63 divided by 7. I could also say 7 times something equals 63. Number 4, 43 plus 12 plus 24 plus 16. We've talked about this one in class. Everyone kind of has their different method of solving this. I usually like to group the two numbers and then get the answers, and then make sure you add those answers up. Some people pull out the 10s and the 1s. It's up to you how you want to solve that problem. Number 5, 3 times 2 times 2. Remember, when there are numbers in parentheses, they want you to solve that first. So 2 times 2 would equal 4, but don't forget about the 3. You bring it down. Now you have 3 times 4. 6, 50 times 6. Remember these problems, the trick would be to multiply the 2 numbers on the outside, and then you add the 0. So 5 times 6 equals 30, and don't forget to add that 0. You get an answer of 300. Round 463 to the nearest 100. If I'm rounding to the nearest 100, I'm not going to look at my tens place. I'm not going to look at my ones place. I'm actually going to look at my tens place. And I'm going to see, is 6 greater than 5, or is it less than 5? Well, I know that it's greater than 5, so I'm going to round up. And if I'm rounding to the nearest 100, my 100 is going to change. It's either going to be 500 or 400. But it all depends on this number right here. 8. The sum is the answer to a blank problem. If I didn't know what this vocabulary word is, I could look here, and here's sum. It says the result or answer to an addition problem. So it would be addition. Number 9. Find the length of side X on the rectangle to the right. So if I'm looking at my rectangle, I notice that I have 4 feet for a length, and 4 feet, or if you want to call it the width, 4 feet here, 4 feet here, which leads me to believe that if this side is 2 feet, the side across from it should also be 2 feet. Number 10. Turn to page 298 of your hands-on pages. Measure pencils C, E, H, L, O, R, and T to the nearest half inch. Use X's to add the data to the line plot. Again, if you don't have this or have a ruler, or even if you don't have your book, feel free to skip this. But if you have a ruler at home, you can always practice measuring other objects in your house because it is good practice. 11. Circle the picture that shows 18 divided into 3 equal groups. So I'm looking at this picture, and I'm looking at, I need a total of 18, and I should have 18 divided into 3 equal groups. This picture looks like there's 2 groups, which is a major hint right there. 12. 600 take away 348. I could do it the borrowing way, or I could do it the other way that we were taught in class by taking away 1 from each. So 600 take away 1 would be 599, and then 348 take away 1 would be 347. If I do it this way, I don't have to borrow anymore, but it's your choice. 13. Any number multiplied by 0 is equal to blank. I think most of us know that answer, but again, if you don't, please feel free to send me a message if you want me to go through this problem. 14. Is the width of an envelope about 3 feet or 3 inches? An envelope is where letters come in, so you have to think about, is an envelope going to be 3 feet, which is about the size of a small kid, or is it about 3 inches? And inches are about, maybe an inch is about this big, more or less. So would it be 3 inches or 3 feet? 15. Write the number 3 as a fraction. So how would 3 look as a fraction? And here they have a little fraction box. So 3 would be equal to 3 over 1, because that would be 3 as a whole number. That's the end of this lesson. If you have any questions or any problems, please let me know, and I could go through some of the problems again. Thanks.